people want. They believe that we are unfit because of our values. And, we have seen in Michigan, the Democratic Party said, the purpose of a public school is to teach children what society needs them to know. What goes unsaid in that is that they know better than we do what society needs them to know. It's to fit them into their mold of a productive society. Absolutely not. Over my dead body. As you said, they are my children, and they are not the government's, and they are certainly not Joe Biden's.
Absolutely. Well, Nicole, something you just said there, I want to highlight again, because I don't want anyone to miss that, but it was profound when you said that they believe, this administration, the left in this country, believe that people like us are unfit parents because of our beliefs, because of our Judeo-Christian beliefs, because of our Christian values. They believe we are unfit to be parents because of what we believe. Is it really that severe?
It is. And, for them to imply that we as parents, that we wouldn't love our children because of their sexual orientation, because of their politics, is insulting. Right? So many parents, very, very, I can't think of a single family that would be unwelcoming. Families, obviously, they will struggle with, they will try and figure out how to adapt their children growing up. But certainly I can't think of anybody who would throw their children out on the street. But that is now the default setting in so many of these activist minds. And I think some of it is driven by, the polling by organizations like the Trevor Project, where they try and imply that, yes, of course, America is this hateful place. Schools are, it's the only safe place where a child can truly be themselves. Yet we have seen from videos that have come out of schools, libs of TikTok, tips that we get through Parents Defending Education, it is teachers and administration figures, authority figures that are trying to guide children down a path, putting ideas into their heads about things that, are age inappropriate and that they're usually not ready for. And so it's really scary that these children who seek approval, who want, to be guided, are being led down the wrong path without the bulwark of a family to stand, and push back.
Absolutely. And, you look at all that's happening with children these days, all the pressing issues. There's just, we have fatherlessness. We've got indoctrination, so many schools that are failing and just teaching mind-altering ideology and so forth. We've got lawlessness, all this sort of stuff. And then we have the Biden administration on top of all of this that seems to be so singularly focused on the LGBT ideology. Why is that? What is it? Why is it that they are pushing this, in your opinion?
It's frightening and it's really confusing. When I think back to when America pulled out of Afghanistan, there was better coordination on Transgender Day of Visibility this year. Every cabinet agency had a statement out, had a flag up. Better coordination for that than there was when we withdrew from Afghanistan. And that's lamentable because it shows where this administration's priorities are. At the end of the day, we send our children to school, to some of these institutions to read, to write. But instead of making up the learning loss that was, forced upon our children from keeping schools closed for 2 years at the administration's behest, we have them spending hours a day on identity politics. We have a mental health crisis in this country, and children, instead of being told subject level mastery, are being told that they're bad people or that they might be born in the wrong body. What could be worse for a child's mental health than to be told to keep a secret from their mom and dad? I mean, that to me is you're encouraging minors to lead a double life. And for that to be done to our children with our tax dollars behind our back is truly insult to injury, and is certainly not the place of the federal government that has shown that they are not able to keep activists' clothes on at the White House, much less have, assist us in raising our children.
Absolutely. Well, since you brought that up, let me ask you one more question on this, then I'd like to switch gears real quickly. All this, so much of this is going around the backs of mom and dads. How should mom and dads, working mom and dads, respond to this type of message that is coming from the White House?
I think, this is very much a see something, say something moment. And that's one of the really encouraging things that we have found over the past 2 years in running Parents Defending Education is so many parents that had been apolitical, that really weren't involved in politics, have said, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? And so I think parents are realizing that pre-pandemic, we would drop our children at the schoolhouse gate, assume that our children were learning, not ask a lot of questions, just assume that things were all right. And now we know to not, right? Now we're in a trust but verify situation. So we see a lot of families now engaging and asking questions and prodding a little bit more, filing public records requests to get access to curriculum if that won't be provided to them from their teachers. But then also having those conversations around the dinner table. Okay, well, Mr. Timmy said this. Here's how mommy and daddy feel and why. I think it's really important for us to reestablish our place and not just, really hand off the parenting and the values to schools, because they have obviously shown us that they are incapable of that. And if anything, they're undermining what we're trying to teach at home.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. If I can, let me switch topics real quickly, because we've all been following, I'm sure you have been too, California's bill, the AB 957, which could potentially literally lead to charges of child abuse against parents if they don't go along with the so-called gender affirmation. This has got to be a red line in the sand for parents.
Yes. And frighteningly, California is certainly the farthest along, but this is a trial balloon that has been floated in a number of states, including Virginia. Again, where parents, if you're not fully on board with the whole gender affirmation, gender ideology project, then you're not good enough. And let's put a child into the foster care system. The foster care system is a horrifying place. And for a state to so cavalierly throw a child into that wood chipper is astonishing. And this is certainly on the heels of California already having their trans sanctuary state, where, a family that is going through a divorce, if a family moves, one parent might move to California, and then they get to be the parent who makes all the decisions because they're on the side of affirmation. This is yet another attempt by a government to wrest power out of the hands of parents with whom they disagree. And it's the kind of thing where, we saw Republican state legislators in California say, if you care about your children, you will leave this state. And for a lawmaker to say that is truly astonishing. And really, as you said, it's a red line, and it's something that should alarm everyone, because this is not just going to stay in California.
Yeah, that's a great point. What starts in California usually spreads like a horrible rash across the country. Nicki Neily, thank you so much for your incredible stance. We appreciate it. Thank you for joining us this evening on Washington Watch.
Thank you.